So this is week 2, and we're talking about women in literature. And the timeline of these stories is interesting because each story marks the birth of the next author. This gives us a good representation of the beginning, middle, and end of the 20th century. Women still deal with the same issues, only on a much smaller scale. Gender roles and stereotypes are still believed, and there's still inequality in the workplace. However, the sisterhood has changed over time. Let's talk about our earliest story, where we see women at the meekest. It takes place in 1916 when the women's suffrage movement was in full effect. Women had no identity apart from being a wife and mother. They did the cooking, cleaning, and minding the children. The men are charged with important tasks, like murder investigation, while the women concern themselves with trifles. Ironically, the women are the ones who solve the murder. I think the author is saying that women have a lot to offer if only given a chance. The ladies will not come right out and tell the men that they aren't being fair for talking about Mrs. Wright's housekeeping. They just said there was a lot of work to be done on a farm. About the time Trifles came out, Shirley Jackson was born. She matured in the time of World War II, so she saw great advances. Women had been voting for over 20 years and were fighting for even more rights. She saw the pride and independence when women took the places of the men in the factories. She symbolizes women's capabilities, with Mrs. Dunbar having to draw for her family while her husband was incapacitated. Despite these capabilities, society treats women as less than, and we see this when the lottery official says, "Don't you have a grown boy to do it for you, Janie?" And we see the sisterhood when the other women cheer her on. "Go on, Janie," and there she goes. Because it's a victory for women, no matter how small. This brings us to 1972 when Legacies was released. It was a good time to be a woman. The Equal Rights Amendment had just been passed by Congress, and the Civil Rights Movement had resulted in the integration of schools and the anti-discriminatory laws. This poem clearly shows the generation gap. The grandmother's proud to teach her grandbaby how to make rolls. It's probably been a special tradition passed down from generations of women. There are some age-old issues that women still face. One thing that has changed is the sisterhood women have from sharing the common struggle. Women don't stick together anymore, and that's something that we would do better to go backwards with.